Hi, this is Karen Rumple. I am the creator of BetterBond, and I would like to show you what I use instead of paste. Maybe even what I do can be construed as a paste, but this is just what I like to do to get a strong hold when I'm adding elements. So I start off by rolling a super thin snake. Just take a little bit of clay, put that back, keep it nice and moist. And then I take my, I kind of started a little bit because the surface that I work on is ceramic tile. So sometimes it can give me a little bit of a hard time. So I give it a shot and I just start it and I just try to go and get it as thin as I possibly can. So, for what I'm going to do today, I would say that's maybe a little bit more than I need, so I don't want to waste the clay. And I can always go back and I'm going to take that little bit off, put it back in my jar. Oops. Put that back, keep it nice and moist. Okay. All right, so now what I do is sometimes I bought these neat little things. I believe they're for paintbrushes. And what I'll do sometimes is I'll put my snake up here just to keep it tidy, but it's not really necessary. So you could do that, or you can do it right on the surface. Now it's starting to set up already. So I take my BetterBond. This is what I do. Now, I will tell you, BetterBond does not disintegrate your clay like water or anything else you might use to make a paste. It just kind of softens it up. So I'll let that sit for just a second. And then I'll show you what I do. How I start using it. I use BetterBond for pretty much everything. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some embellishments to the inside of this cuff that I'm making for a customer. And I think I'll start with the real tiny one. And make sure I have the right. Okay, yep, sure do. So I'm going to lay it out. Lay out my embellishments just to make sure we're good. And then we're going to attach them with BetterBond. Okay. All right. And I'll straighten them out when I put them on. I'm just trying to get a little idea how they're going to fit, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a super tight fit, but I don't care. I don't care. All right, so I'm doing fired to fired for you. And fired to fired can be a little tricky no matter how you do it. So this will be good for you guys to see what I do. Okay, so that's what I'm after. I'm trying to get those three elements on there. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the smallest one and remove that. Okay. And then I just take a little bit of my BetterBond over there. Just get a little bit wet. Okay, next thing I do is I will cut off a piece of, I'll do two just in case I have to go back for more. Cut those off. And I actually use the tweezers because, like I said, BetterBond will not disintegrate your clay. Okay. So there we have it. And now we're going to put our element on. I have found, just for me, and then I press it down, I think that's about the perfect amount. I can go back in later and fill in, but I think it's pretty good. Okay, so now we're gonna do the next element, which is the bigger one. Just wet it with BetterBond. Okay, now I'm gonna need more for this. So I'm pretty sure this is overkill, but I'm gonna just put it on there for now. I can take away what's left over. I can just take it from the sides. Not a big deal. Okay. Let me get that close. I just started using a toothpick recently, and oh my goodness, it's really actually kind of awesome. I've bought more little paint brushes or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so you see how that's coming out. Well, what I would do is just kind of shove it back in, because we want a good join, okay? That's the most important part of putting these elements on. You want a really good join. Now, that one went really well. Okay, so I'm going to press that down, and it appears like my clay is more up towards the top rather than on this side. So probably what I would do is I would lift that back up, just because we want to make sure that the clay is on both sides. Yeah, exactly what I said. So this is good that this is happening. This will show you guys what I do to just get it a little more even where it should be. Now that started to dry a little bit, so I'm going to get some BetterBond, put that on there, and then I will scrape that off and get that moved down. You can watch me do that with this. Okay, we're going to put it down at the bottom. Okay, right there. So it's kind of like, I think if you really want to get technical, it's kind of like I'm putting fresh clay, which is, as we all know, about the strongest way to go. Okay, I'm going to put some more BetterBond on there. There's no sense in wasting all this BetterBond sitting on my desk. So we're going to use it as much as possible. Okay, here we go. So now, put our little element back there. Let me get it situated so that it's even. And we're going to make sure we have a real good bond. That's pretty tight. That's pretty good, I would say. All right, make sure it's even in the middle. And then I just go around those edges where some of it came out with my BetterBond. If it's got too much, I'll cut it away. It's, you know, that's not that big of a deal to me. So I'll put it in along the edges, clean it up a little bit. Probably after this dries, I'll take a good look at it, because there's high shrinkage in Project X925, which I actually like, because the strength is just really, really good. So, okay, so let me make sure that's right. Clean that up a little bit. See, here's another one of the things I've bought a ton of. I have all kinds of things I use to clean it up. Okay, there we go. And I'll clean that up a little bit better later. That's where the toothpick has really helped me. Oh my gosh, it's been great. It gets all that clay to come away. Okay, so now we're gonna go with our third element. Now you would think by now that this clay would be disintegrating. It's not. There's something about the ingredients I have in BetterBond. It permeates, I would guess, the top layer of the clay, which makes it nice and soft. But it doesn't disintegrate the clay and the properties of the clay at all. So it becomes a really nice, easy consistency. Okay, so now my next element is that big. So probably what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut that in half. Okay, cut that in half. All right, and I will use that. Take a little more BetterBond, put it down here. Luckily I had all these little rivet holes that I had made when I was attaching the moon, or excuse me, the stars and all that good stuff. Well, this one I was attaching a sort of a sizable moon bezel. Okay. All right. Let me get a little bit of BetterBond on the back of that. Now you see how nice this is turning this into. I'll just take my paste pot, throw it right in there. Gives me other options later on. Okay, so. All right, here we go. Very good. Nice, nice, perfect. Really good. Great bond. Really, really good bond. Oh my goodness. Nice and strong. Okay, so that's how I do my paste. I roll my snake out, I cover it completely in BetterBond, and then I just start breaking pieces off. And then, like I said, I'll wait till this dries, but in the meantime, I'll take my little pot and I will add these pieces. And sometimes I will cut my snake even smaller because I don't like to waste silver. Of course, who does? So, and I have enough paste in here. So probably the next snake I make will more than likely be much, much smaller. And then sometimes this is a little muddier than I would want it. So there's been times when I've taken BetterBond, and if you can see what I'm doing, just dropping a couple drops and putting it over the elements gently. Gently, gently. I have found that it makes this little invisible shield, which is kind of nice. So, yeah, that'll dry. That's not gonna really affect whatever finish you want on your elements, because that's what I did to all of these. Now, this is not finished, but I coated all of them with BetterBond, and it did not affect, you know, the matte finish I was going after. And I'll blot it a little bit. Okay, so there you have it.